We're joined now by Dr. Roy Casagrande, a professor of government at Austin Community College. He's joining us now to discuss the latest developments in Afghanistan. Doctor, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Now, even before the U.S. went into Afghanistan, this country has had a long history of violent conflict. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Afghanistan has been in 5 wars with 3 superpowers over the course of the last 2 centuries.
Well, after yesterday's bombing that killed 13 American service members and dozens of others, U.S. officials are already gearing up for more attacks. Is that right?
Yes, it is. Apparently, they have pretty solid intel that more attacks are at least planned. In fact, they knew this one was coming, and the president and the State Department had put out numerous warnings. It's one thing to know something is coming. It's another thing in a chaotic situation like that to actually be able to do something about it. So I think it's safe to assume that there's the potential that we could have another event before we withdraw in the next 4 days.
Now, President Biden says the U.S. will retaliate for this bloodshed, but obviously all of this is going to complicate plans for a full military withdrawal.
I mean, that's definite. The president has a problem, right? And that is, do you want to do like we had to do with when ISIL was conquering Iraq? Do you go back in? And I don't think that the United States has that appetite. I don't think the president has that appetite. I think that what will most likely happen for purposes of retaliation will be airstrikes. Maybe operations with special forces, but I don't see us going back in.
Now, while the Taliban is the one that's actually taken over Afghanistan, ISIS is being blamed for yesterday's deadly attacks. Now, these two groups, they don't work together, do they?
No, they're bitter enemies. It's actually probably the main reason why the attack happened yesterday. It was almost certainly an attempt by ISIL in the Khorasan province to attempt to destabilize the Taliban and to wreck the Taliban's legitimacy in the international community's eyes. One of the things that we got out of our deal on February 29 of last year, the deal that the president is effectively putting into place, is that the Taliban will not allow terrorist organizations to operate within Afghanistan. And obviously, they have an enemy who's a terrorist organization operating in Afghanistan that simply isn't going to comply with the wishes of the Taliban. And this is their way of letting everybody know, I think.
All right, definitely something we'll be keeping a very close eye on in the days to come. Dr. Roy Casagrande, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it so much.
Thanks for having me.